For the final time before the All-Star break, it's time for Braves baseball. Again, we join you from Nationals Park. It's a beautiful Chamber of Commerce weather day as the Braves and Nats wrap up our 4-game series. Hi again, friends. Welcome back to the ballpark. It was a lot of fun yesterday for the Braves. They thumped the Nationals by a 13-0 final score. And, Joe, that game kind of emphasized what has happened to the Atlanta Braves from one season to the next in the first half of the year. We know 2016 was tough offensively. That's not been the case for the Braves in the first half this year.
No, if you want to compare the numbers between the same time last year going to the All-Star break, last year they'd played a couple more games, but the Braves offense has been the difference this year. Good numbers, 42-44 record, 22 runs, 34 hits in this series alone gives you a hint of maybe better things to come in the second half. And when the Braves get good, solid starting pitching, they generally win. Let's hope for more of the same today.
From Sean Newcomb, who is pitching for Atlanta, hoping to come back from a speed bump against the Houston Astros in his last start at home. Joe Ross pitches for the Nationals. We wrap up the series from our nation's capital. We'll see what happens. Lineups and first pitch coming right up.
Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, a monumental victory for the Braves yesterday here in Washington. They skunked the Nationals 13-0 and knocked Steven Strasburg out of the game very early. The Braves had maybe their best defensive game of the year. Julio Teheran was brilliant, added all up. And the Braves have now won 6 of the last 9 games head-to-head with the Nationals. And hopefully that will continue on an absolutely gorgeous Sunday for baseball here in D.C. It is breezy, and Joe Ross is the man on the mound, a guy, Joe, that gets an incredible amount of offensive support.
It's crazy. It's the most run support in all of baseball, and the run support for him in games like the first 2 or 3 games he started this year. He won 14-4, no decision, and 15-12 win, no decision, and a 23-5 Nationals victory. He had no decision because he didn't go 5 innings in those games. There are crazy double-figure support run support games for him. Let's hope that's not the case today as he goes against the Braves. He's 5-3 with a 4.86 ERA.
And he'll face Braves All-Star Ender Inciarte leading off the Toyota starting lineup. The Braves enter action at 42 and 44. There you see the batting order. Johan Camargo batting and playing second for Brandon Phillips, who's got the day off. Standard alignment the rest of the way for the Braves with Dansby Swanson back in there at shortstop. So here we go. It's Ross versus Newcomb. And Ender Inciarte awaits the game's first pitch, and it's a strike. We're underway.
Low 90s fastball, good action on it, and a good slider, change up, and a curve. More sliders than curveballs. 6'4", 220, just turned 24.
A bunt try. Rendon scoops, throws on the run, and got him by a step. Pretty play.
Not a bad bunt either. Braves had all the defense working yesterday, and this is a nice play by Rendon.
So here's Johan Camargo. He's had a fine series. 5 for 9. He's knocked in a couple of runs. He's played short. He's played third. He's playing second today. Ross misses up and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Camargo hitting .307, no homers, 13 driven in. And the eye-popping number when you look at Camargo is the Braves are 14 and 9 when he gets a start. Down and in. Almost hit him. 2 balls and a strike. Can you believe we have an 80-degree day in Washington in mid-July?
No, sir. Beautiful.
Just a couple of tiny puffy clouds in the sky off to our right. Other than that, crystal clear blue skies above Nationals Park. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Line into the seats left side, and Camargo's still alive. Every time you play the team in front of you, it's a 2-game swing as far as the outcome is concerned. If Atlanta can win today, they would enter the break 7.5 games out of first place. If Washington wins today, there'd be no blood. Atlanta came to town 9.5 back. They'd leave 9.5 back. And we won't see the Nationals head-to-head again until September, I believe.
That's correct.
So make hay while the sun's shining. Here we are with Freddie Freeman waiting on deck, and a full count pitch coming up for Johan Camargo. Right back where it came from. It skips off the mound, and short Defoe the play, and Camargo beats the wrap. What did that hit?
I just thought it hit the front slope of the mound and shot it straight up in the air. If it got Ross, he didn't act like it. Might have hit the pitching rubber. Good hustle by Johan to not assume it was going to get into center field. No, it might have ramped up off his foot. Well, another hit for Camargo.
And another hustling play in his first at bat. Remember, he reached on that force early in the game that brought Julio up, and Julio picked up a knock against Strasburg that brought in a run. So here's Freddie Freeman. Freeman with 2 runs scored yesterday. He had a 3rd inning double. He brings a 9-game hitting streak against the Nationals into today's play. He's got 5 hits so far in the series. And he had a good cut. Strike 1.
Sitting .391 against the Nats this year, 2 homers.
What amazing talent to miss a month and a half and come back and not miss a beat at the plate. Shift on for him. He's got the whole left side of the infield. If he wants, swing and a miss. 0-2. Kamargo with a short lead at first. And here comes Ross's 2-strike pitch. Bouncing ball right to Rendon. That'll be 2. And Ross is out of the first inning. The Nationals infield defense was perfectly positioned. Nothing doing in the Atlanta first. Here comes Sean Newcomb. The first place Nationals today in Game 4.
Sean Newcomb is 1-3 with a .358 ERA. He's made 5 starts, 4 of them quality starts, but as you can see, the opposite is true for him from Joe Ross. No runs of support. Very tough to win when you're only getting 0.8. His 4 keys to pitching success today. Number 1, location of his curveball to left-handed hitters. All these guys are such good hitters that are batting left-handed in this lineup. You can't hang that hook inside. You got to work it away from them and be a cheerleader for the offense. You bet. He doesn't get any run support, and this team has scored 22 runs, 34 hits in this series. He'd like to have a little of that.
You bet. And he'd like to retire Brian Goodwin, the Nationals leadoff man. And Newcomb misses upstairs with ball 1. Goodwin 7 for 16 against lefties. There's his series work. And 7 home runs, 3 of them against the Braves. And there's Sean's first strike on the day. I hate to use the term frustrated, but I'm sure Newcomb was betwixt and between in his last start against Houston. He got to 2 strikes very quickly and often in that first inning against the Astros, but was unable to finish them off either with a strikeout or a fair ball put in play.
I think the Astros might tell you that was one of their best offensive days of the year because of what they were able to do behind in the count.
6 of their first 8 hits came with 2 strikes back in Atlanta. And now Newcomb delivers a 3-1 pitch that's popped straight back, and it's a full count. So 7 runs, 10 hits in 3 1/3 innings for Newcomb against Houston. He'll try to rebound today. And his first 3-2 offering is on the way, and it's up and in. Goodwin walks. Not what you want to do with the 3, 4, 5 men lurking on the Nationals lineup card. Dusty Baker's starting 9 looks this way. Presented by Toyota. Wilmer Defoe gets the start at short, hitting second. Then the 3 amigos, as Joe called them: Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy, Rendon, Wieters, Heisey in left. Joe Ross pitches and hits 9th.
This guy's had a good series. 3 for 3 with a couple of walks.
He was fooled there. Strike 1.
But his number's right-handed. He's a switch hitter. His number's right-handed. Not very good. 3 for 17.
Washington, of course, without Trey Turner, who's out with a fractured wrist. Sean is wild here in the early going.
I watched him warm up and he was wild. He was having trouble getting anything over.
That's laced into the seats right side. A ball and 2 strikes for Defoe. Defoe has 7 hits, 6 walks, 3 runs scored in the last 6 games. Has a 7-game hitting streak in his starting assignments for the Nationals. As they're making do without Turner as best they can. Defoe giving them nice production and good defense. Pitch. And his body blocked by Flowers. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Back-to-back full counts to the first Washington hitters, with Bryce Harper lurking. Didn't get the call. Back-to-back walks. Two on, nobody out. Here's Bryce Harper.
When I was watching him warm up, just this part right here, when he took the mound, he was up, and then when he was throwing a curveball, he was bouncing it. So he was a little bit off on his release point and trying to get his bearings on this mound for his fastball and his curve. You don't put a lot of stock in that until the game starts, but now all of a sudden it might mean something.
Newcomb had walked 10 men in his first 27 2/3 big league innings. He's walked the first 2 hitters here. And now Bryce Harper, the 4th leading hitter in the league, digs in. Thirteen pitches, only 4 strikes so far. He does not look comfortable at all yet. 2-0. Made him throw a strike. That went in at 97 miles an hour. 2 balls and a strike now.
First time through the order, generally not an issue for Sean Newcomb, especially with that good curveball of his. First time through the order is a problem. But the second time, once he gets established, once he gets the curveball working and his fastball located, things begin to calm down.
He's battled back to an even count here with Harper. Here it is. Line drive, left field. That's down for a hit. They're going to wave the runner. And now the red light is thrown up very quickly. Goodwin came around third. They were going to wave him. He slammed on the brakes. And now the bases are loaded for Washington with nobody out. And Ryan Zimmerman's coming up.
Fastball not where he wanted it. Tyler was set up away and was reaching across himself to the middle of the plate to catch that. Maybe Goodwin was thinking to himself that he kind of hesitated before he broke, make sure Matt Kemp wasn't going to catch that line drive, and figured he didn't have a chance. So,
not the kind of start we hope to see.
No.
Bases loaded, nobody out for Zimmerman. He's knocked in 62 runs already this year, and he's hitting .333. Got ahead of a man, strike one. Braves would gladly surrender a run for a double play ball here. Zimmerman, as you know, does not run well.
Velocity is just fine. That grand slam this year came against Atlanta at SunTrust Park.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I think he's only thrown 1 curveball, and that was fouled off by Defoe.
That's the ratio we're talking about. Pitch number 21. And now 2-2. Let's see if he can finish him off.
Actually, a strikeout would be enormous. Given a double play at that point would get you out of the inning.
Goodwin, Defoe, and Harper, the Nationals base runners. Nobody out in the first. Pitch. Broken bat, fly ball right. Markakis is there. There's the catch. Runner tags. Here comes the throw. It is way up the line. Everybody advances on a sac fly by Zimmerman. It's 1-0 Nationals.
An unusual fundamental mistake by Nick Markakis. Broken bat sawed him off. It wasn't real deep, but Nick overthrew everybody. If he hits Matt Adams, they may have a chance to shoot down Harper at second.
So runners second and third for Murphy. Murphy leads the league at .341 with a batting average. He too has knocked in 62 men. This guy's a doubles machine. He's already hit 28 of them. And in reaching, popped up on a play foul. Strike one for Murphy. Another spot where you'd love to get a strikeout. However, with Murphy up there, that's asking an awful lot.
Well located breaking ball.
He strikes out once every 10 at bats. 2 balls and a strike.
Oh my.
Flowers held that. Didn't get the call.
What was wrong with it?
Bruce Dreckman, the man behind the plate. A couple of fastballs that were close to the plate weren't called in at bats to Goodwin and Defoe.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Perfect curveball.
Three balls and a strike. Full count.
It's lefties that have given him the most trouble. 355 left-handed average, 222 right-handed. I don't think that I would throw Murphy another fastball here. I'd first base open, I'd throw him a curve and see if he can get an out.
And if it's ball 4, have a right-hand hitter in the double play in order with Rendon. An awful lot of pitches for Newcomb. He's about to make his 28th. Did throw him a fastball. Murphy fouled it away.
And it might have been ball 4.
That's what he's asking the umpire.
At the top of the zone.
Now the 3-2 again, and Murphy into the seats left side. Swing and a miss. Murphy chased, and he'll be thrown out at first base. There's a huge pitch. 2-3 on the putout as Murphy, a rare strikeout in a run scoring spot.
Well located too. Down and away in the dirt. Don't give in. Got him to chase. That was excellent. So 30 pitches here in the first. That only means that'll probably cut into his day at the back end. But if he can get out of this inning with just a few more pitches and only one run in, great job.
So they're at second and third with 2 outs for Anthony Rendon, hitting a cool 300. And there's the hook, a strike. He's ahead of Rendon. That was a good live fastball.
Yeah, 97 again.
After 32 pitches in the inning. So let's see what Newcomb and Flowers come up with here. Here it is. Line drive left center field. That's a base hit. And another 2-strike hit against Newcomb, this time from Rendon, who doubles, and Washington has 3 in the first.
Check the location, check and see where Tyler's set up. He wanted it in, he wanted to tie him up, but the pitch was left belt high and out over the plate. And once again, Joe Ross is staked to an early lead with a lot of runs to work with.
It's amazing, isn't it? So it's 3-zip. Newcomb's going to have to throw at least 35 pitches in the opening inning. Washington had him loaded with nobody out. A sac fly, a strikeout, and a 2-strike hit by Rendon gives the Nationals a 3-0 first inning lead. It's the oldest saying in the sport. Pitching's like real estate. Location, location, location. And Sean's has not been sharp in the early going today. Wieters the batter and takes a strike. Switch hitting catcher batting .238. Line into the left field corner. Foul. He was all over that.
Anywhere you can save a run is big already. Even if it's a foul ball that saves one.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Wieters' numbers .238 for the year, but .263 right-handed. He's better from this side of the plate.
Strike 3 called, and that ends the inning. 39 pitches for Newcomb to get out of the first inning, a frame that lasted about 30 minutes. 3-0 Washington after 1. South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, only on Fox. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern Time. There are the Nationals All-Star representatives. Their general manager Mike Rizzo, Daniel Murphy, Bryce Harper, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, who was hit by a batted ball on the hip yesterday, and of course Ryan Zimmerman. So sometimes it's not how well you pitch, but when. Joe Ross has been the recipient of a ton of run support. He's got 3 to play with after 1 inning. In fact, the Nationals have scored 10 or more runs in 7 of his first 12 starts this year. He leads 3-0 after 1.
And sometimes it's a lot more than 10.
His first 3 games of the year. Nationals beat the Braves 14-4. Nationals beat the Rockies 15-12. They beat the Mets 23-5. And then won 10-1 against Seattle. That makes it tough to lose.
Yeah, it does.
Well, they only won 2 of those games.
Let's get the offense cranked up.
Nice day for Matt Kemp, who needed some good news offensively. Matt had 2 hits, scored a couple of runs, knocked in a 3rd inning tally as well for the Braves. They led 6-0 after 3 against Strasburg and never looked back. The Braves handed the Nationals their first shutout of the 2017 season, held them to only 4 hits. And Matt didn't get that. A swing and a miss. Ross has his first strikeout, 1 away.
His last outing was against the Mets. Won that game 11-4. 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, but only 2 runs. He walked 3, which is kind of a high number for him. He's only issued 18 walks in the year in 71 innings. Out of Berkeley, California.
Nick Markakis has 4 hits in the series, including a homer. Nick scored 4 runs yesterday, part of his 3-hit afternoon. And smokes that ball to center, but right at Goodwin. Two outs quickly. Matt Adams coming up, the Braves' first baseman. A 3-run 9th inning home run highlighted his day in Game 3. This guy's been an extra base hitting machine for the Braves. 25 of his 48 hits in an Atlanta uniform have gone for 2 bases or better. Nationals shift with 2 outs. And that's high. 1 ball, no strikes. Mile high fly ball to right. Murphy down the line near the stands. Harper joins him and nobody can come up with it. It hit off the top of the fence. And so it's a free swing for Adams here with 2 outs.
Nobody would have even been close had they not had the shift on where Murphy was out in shallow right field, so he had a shorter distance to go, but it looked like perhaps Harper lost that in the sun just as he got to the corner.
One pitch. Roped down the right field line. That's fair. And that's into the corner. Another extra base hit for Adams. And there's a 2-out start for the Braves. Their 2nd hit of the game.
That slid a little late into second base, hit the bag hard. I hope he's all right. Appears to be. But a little gimpy. Fastball up, raked it fair. No matter what happens in the second half, you can't say Matt Adams hasn't done what he was brought here to do after Freddie got hurt.
Now Tyler Flowers bats. See if Atlanta can shave off a run off this Nationals lead. 3-0. They saw 39 pitches in the first inning and scored 3.
I'm confident the Braves will score runs off of Joe Ross today. I have the way they're swinging the bat. I have a real good feeling they're going to score a bunch of runs. What's more important is what the Braves pitchers do from this point forward to try to hold them at 3.
2 balls, no strikes. The bullpen should be in pretty good shape today, and Brian Snitker told the media before the game that Jaime Garcia would be available to pitch in relief if needed. He, of course, is starting pitcher, so if you need multiple innings, like Tanner Roark for the Nationals yesterday, Garcia could fill that role today. Pop fly foul back toward us. 2-2. Swing and a miss. That'll retire the side. The Braves get a 2-out double, but come up empty in the second. Live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports South and Braves baseball with you wherever you go. It's presented by Honda Marine. Well, let's hope the first inning jitters are done with for Sean Newcomb. He allowed 3 Nationals runs. The big blow, the 2-strike, 2-out hit by Anthony Rendon to make it 3-0 after an inning and a half.
Both the leadoff walks came around to score. So back on track, back on track. Set down a few in a row and get some confidence back and give your offense a chance.
Chris Heisey gets the start in left field. Heisey batting .122 for the season. And up and away again. 1 ball, no strikes. That tied up Heisey, who can't believe it was called a strike. Now the 2-2 pitch. Sharply hit to short. And Adams dug it out. Heisey's the 8th man Newcomb has faced in the game. He's gone to 3-2 on 4 of the first 8. That time, though, he gets the out. And here's Ross.
That was stung. Good play by Dansby.
Ross has 5 hits this year. He's got a couple of doubles, too. And he's got another one.
Another high fastball led her high. And a nice swing by Ross.
Ross was originally a first-round pick of the Padres. The Nationals got him with Trey Turner in that gigantic deal in 2014. Think about where the Padres would be if they had Ross and Turner in San Diego. Here's Goodwin. He walked to lead off the game and swings and misses. Joel's older brother Tyson has appeared in 153 big league games with the A's and the Padres. It's quite a pitching family.
I was just thinking where the Padres could be with guys like Adrian Gonzalez or Mike Rizzo or either the Upton brothers or Matt Kemp or
they've traded away a veritable all-star team more than once. As that's fouled away. 0-2. Strike called inside corner. Goodwin gave up on that baby. And there's the 3rd strikeout for Newcomb. 2 outs.
This is a front door breaking ball, and that location I was talking about with the left-handed hooks, more curveball than slider, is to be careful inside. The target was away, so he wasn't trying to throw it in there. He just happened to get it there, and it was a curveball. Unfortunately, Goodwin was giving up on it.
Flowers asked for an appeal, no swing. It's really rare to see a catcher reach as far as Flowers did on that ball and still get the strike call. He's been trying to frame some of these pitches for Newcomb. A few of them haven't missed all that badly, but by and large, he's missing his spot by 3-4 inches.
He's missing it from one side of the plate to the other.
Yeah. One and one for Defoe. That was better.
Change up.
to third. Freddie's got it. He'll make the peg to second, and that retires the side. Nice rebound inning for Newcomb. He's coming up second in the third. Washington leads by 3.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer and the Georgia Lottery.
Hopefully Sean Newcomb settling in. He did give up 3 in the first inning, but the Braves will try to rally here in the third. Time for our Coors Timeless Moment from Washington, D.C. It's a special day for a couple of kids in the Braves farm system today.
The U.S. versus the World Minor League All-Star game, the All-Star Futures game, if you will. Ronald Acuna and Mike Soroka will play for the World team. Soroka was born in Canada. Acuna from, I want to say the Dominican, but I don't think that's right. I think he's Venezuelan, actually. But what a year both of them are having. Acuna, especially after being promoted from A-ball to AA.
That game starts at Marlins Park at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Hopefully we'll be able to catch some of the game after the Braves come back in D.C. today. Dansby Swanson leads off and takes a strike. Acuna, we understand, batting 5th on the lineup card for the World squad today. So that's exciting.
And he is from Venezuela.
And in for Dansby. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dansby's had 2 days off in the last 4 played by the Braves. Back in there hitting 8th at short today. As that caught a corner, 1-2.
I asked him before the game, I said, how you holding up? And are you tired of all the play? And he said, no, the games are easy. You know, that part of it, no trouble at all. He said, it's all the peripheral stuff, the travel, the late nights in terms of the delays.
Poke to the right side. Murphy almost overran that ball, but made the play. 1 out.
Trying to get your rest, trying to be prepared for the game by getting your rest, getting the work done that you need to get done before the game. He said it's all the peripheral stuff that takes a toll on you. And I said, well, what are you going to do during the break? And he said, absolutely nothing. You go home and rest.
I think if you took a poll of the guys that aren't going to Miami for the All-Star break, that's going to be pretty much a unanimous response.
He also chimed in on how horrible the Braves' schedule has been, too.
Lots of road games. Lots of late travel for the Braves. They play just 8 home games in the month of July, including a 6-game homestand right after the All-Star festivities starting Friday night with Arizona. Newcomb's looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 9. He has struck out 7 times. And now it's 1-2.
It's interesting how so often we've heard Newcomb compared to John Lester of the Cubs. Well, they had something in common today. Newcomb gave up 3 in the first. Lester gave up 10 to the Pirates.
3rd strikeout for Ross. 2 are out. I want to keep track of what the Cubs are up to because we'll be seeing them right after the break as well. Defending World Champion Chicago Cubs having a rough go of it. Cubs have won back-to-back games once since June 11th. So back to the top, Ender Inciarte. He tried to bunt his first time up. That brings Rendon in at the bag at 3rd base. Can you imagine the pride and excitement that Ender Inciarte and his family is going to have down in Miami? When he puts on that National League All-Star uniform and makes his way to the field wearing and representing the Atlanta Braves in Venezuela. Man, what an honor for a guy that's had a tremendous first half. 112 hits.
I think in light of what we all learned from Ender and Eddie Perez in that interview you had with them down in Miami, and what we know about what's going on in that country, I think it's a source of pride for every one of the Venezuelans who were there.
One ball, 2 strikes. 3-0 Nationals as Ross goes back to work. And 2-2. Make him work. Same thing applies when Joe Ross pitches. Keep it close, run up his pitch count, and force the hand of Dusty Baker to get into that bullpen. Three balls, 2 strikes. And Ender's aboard for the first time, a 2-out walk.
Well, unlike Scherzer or Strasburg, but Scherzer in particular, where Dusty would tend to ride him as absolutely deep into the game as he possibly could before warming anybody up. I don't think that'll be the case with Joe Ross today if the game is close.
His season high in pitches came in his last start, 114 of them over 7 innings. It's the game he beat the Mets. Now Camargo with a runner aboard and 2 outs. Camargo ripped one back up the middle that appeared to hit off the front slope of the mound, maybe tipped off the pitching rubber, and he beat the play at first. That was the first Atlanta hit. Strike call.
Good breaking ball.
Just like that, 0-2. That's way high. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's not just Strasburg that likes to go upstairs 0-2 or 1-2 to try to get to the chase. Seems like every one of their starters has done that. Leaders wanted it again. Yep. Shaken off by Ross. He missed badly.
Maybe a little glance at who's on deck is affecting this matchup with Ross and Kamargo. If Freeman gets to the plate, he could represent the tying run.
See if Wieters gets his way this time.
Ripped foul.
That is so quick. It's like a cutter. I know it's probably his slider, but it's a short one. Acts more like a cutter moving in on him, and he's still got the barrel on it.
Two balls, 2 strikes. After he got ahead 0-2, Ross now battling his control. He's got a full count. Ender can run with the pitch. As the Braves forcing Ross's pitch count up into the upper 40s now. Ender leads. Zimmerman backs up at first. Here comes the 3-2. It's downstairs. A base on balls. And Freeman indeed is coming up representing the tying run. Let's flash back to April before Freeman broke his wrist. Back in Atlanta against Ross.
Splashdown. Well, just like Newcomb in the first inning when he did the middle of their lineup a favor by walking the first 2 guys. So has Ross done that here with 2 out to get Freddie up.
Freeman hit into a double play his first time up. He says all he does during batting practice is try to hit a line drive over the shortstop. Well, there is no shortstop now.
About to be.
They're going to move Defoe over. Because they know Freddie Freeman saw that hole. He could poke one and would happily do so.
Well, he hit one there his first time up, right where Defoe's playing.
Right.
That turned into a double play.
Ball 1 off the plate. Freddie didn't chase.
It's an odd looking configuration with their defense with Murphy out in shallow right field, but it's a good one.
Swing and a fly ball hammered toward left center field. That ball is deep. That ball is going to the wall. That ball is over the wall. It's a home run for Freeman, and we're tied. He is absolutely unbelievable.
Now, was that a flashback there or was that live? Straightaway center. Right where he likes it. Middle of the plate. A little out away from him. Beautiful. Start over.
So it's 3-3. And for you young pitchers out there, little lesson. Don't walk hitters in front of the middle of opposing orders. You're going to run into trouble. Newcomb did in the first. Ross did here in the third. 2 quick outs, 2 quick walks, and then Freeman a 3-run homer. So Freeman's 2nd home run in this series, 8 RBIs in this series, and we're only in the 3rd inning. Kemp rolls it foul. 1-2.
And like Newcomb, those 2 walks took him a lot of pitches to do it. Nice to see Freddie with a 3-run homer too. He had 14 homers and 15 homers and 30 RBIs before that at bat.
All those solos early. That's up and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A definite pattern here on Matt. They did that to him in the first inning and then struck him out on a slider away. I know he's got 2 strikes on him, but I think I'd be covering that outer half. Because here comes another slider. Freddie Freeman. 3 doubles, 2 homers in the series. Not bad. Came in hitting .391 against him.
2-2 pitch. A little chopper hit toward Rendon. Got the second hop. Throws on the run in time. And that retires the side. Back-to-back 2-out walks. And then Freddie Freeman hit a high fly ball over the shortstop and over the wall in left center. His 16th home run of the season, a 2-out 3-run homer, ties it up in the 3rd. Bryce Harper leads off the home 3rd for the Nationals. The Braves just got the game tied for Sean Newcomb. But delivers a first pitch strike. The Braves offense has been fantastic since last August.
2nd in on base percentage. Very impressive.
And to your point earlier in Braves Live, the Braves go as their pitching goes, as do so many teams, but especially this one. See if Newcomb can shut them down for a while, let the Braves add on. This is a big league inning for him here. Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy. And did he go? Yep, he did. Braves finally got one of those in the series. 1-2 the count. Harper grounds to 2nd, and that'll be a piece of cake. 1 away. Here's Zimmerman, a sacrifice fly in the 1st inning. Newcomb broke his bat. Ball deep enough to score Goodwin for the game's first run.
Yeah, and that turned out to be a play that was influential, because when Markakis overthrew everybody and allowed Harper to advance from first to second, I'm not sure he would have scored from first on that double by Rendon. He may have, but
you like the odds better if he's at first as opposed to second.
Sure thing.
The ball's at a strike for Zimmerman. Second in the league in hitting at .333. And you noticed before the game we showed that shot of the 5 Nationals All-Stars being introduced. The biggest cheer wasn't for Strasburg, it wasn't for Scherzer, it was for this guy.
Or for Harper. It was for this guy. They love him. And rightfully so. I mean, he is, I think you made the comment, Mr. National. That's exactly right. He was the first ever draft choice by the Washington Nationals, and has certainly not disappointed in that regard. Injuries have certainly put a dent in a lot of his career statistics, but what a player.
And we hear he's an even better person. Pitch. Swing and a miss. That pops away from Flowers. He'll recover. Zimmerman out by a step at first. And 2 are out. 4 strikeouts for Newcomb.
Tyler almost got Matt Adams drilled by the runner.
One of the key sequences in this game came the first time Newcomb and Murphy matched up. The Nationals had him at second and third, 1 out, and Murphy struck out. Boo. A rarity indeed for Murphy. As we showed you, strikes out once every 10.9 plate appearances.
Unlike Zimmerman, he's much closer to the plate than Ryan. Kind of challenges you to pitch him inside, where he's so quick, short.
Fouled away that pitch. 2 balls and a strike.
He has swung at a couple of pitches up and in like that too, but he hasn't been able to get the barrel to.
Murphy's a .328 hitter against lefties, and took that one over the inside corner. Pretty pitch. 2-2.
Yeah, that was one of the first. He threw a slider to him earlier, remember, on the strikeout, but that was one of the first curve balls that got him to flinch just a little bit.
The 2-2 is launched to the left. Where do you go to get this guy?
Well, they got him to chase a bad ball his last time up. He's fighting off up and in. He took the breaking ball, maybe another curve.
We're about to find out. Looped into center. Ender coming on. He got it waist high, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Newcomb. He's through 3 with a 3-3 score.
3-3 as we head into the fourth inning. Sean Newcomb taking the mound for the Braves in the bottom half of this inning. Now, his last start versus the Astros, he got a little roughed up after coming off of those 4 consecutive quality starts. He says he thinks he tends to learn more from the mistakes from a rough start, and I think he's showing that today after that rough first inning, 39 pitches. He's come out and settled down. He said on his bullpens this week, he really focused on aggressiveness and being aggressive with his pitches. Chip and Joe, I think he's been able to do that in the innings since that first inning.
Absolutely, Kelsey. Good point. I thought he was, I don't know that he was lacking aggressiveness in the first inning on the first 2 hitters. He was just lacking command. Throwing it all over the place.
Yeah, 39 pitches in the first inning. He's thrown 29 since, and of the first 8 Sean faced, he had 4 3-ball 2-strike counts. Freddie Freeman's 3-run homer has him back in the game with Nick Markakis leading off. Nick lined out to center his first time up. And he starts the 4th inning. Markakis, Adams, and Flowers for the Braves. Nick 17 hits away from 2,000.
Scherzer and Ross lead their team with 18 starts. This guy's making his 13th, yet he leads their team in home runs allowed. Freddie's homer was the 16th he's given up.
And at least 1 home run for Ross allowed in his last 6 starts, including today's action. So now we're going to find out what this kid's made of. He's got a tight game. Usually he gets 7, 8, 9, 10 runs a day. He's got 3, but he's tied up. And now he's behind 3 balls and a strike. Full count. Popped up. Wieters back to the screen. He won't have a play. That's in the Nationals club. Right behind home plate. Another big crowd here today. They had a sellout here last night. Yesterday afternoon, 38,000 plus. Payoff pitch for Nick. He shoots one toward left. Heisey drifts back. He's got room and makes the play. Nick's flied out twice. It is the first out of the 4th inning. And now Wieters on his way to the mound. So is Mike Maddox, the Nationals pitching coach.
Wonder what that's about. Must be a problem. Blister or something.
Uh-oh. This is not what the Nationals want, quite obviously, with the state of their bullpen. And Dusty Baker's coming out. He'll talk with Maddox as well.
I wonder if this was one of the reasons they weren't sure if he was going to start today. You know, if there was a pre-existing issue. He doesn't have to buy time if he's going to take him out.
That's going to be it.
That's going to happen. Whoever comes in will be given whatever time they need.
So this is the worst of all possible scenarios for the Nationals. Number one, you hope nothing's seriously wrong with Joe Ross. They had to use Tanner Roark for an extended stint after Strasburg got knocked out. And now Atlanta is going to be into the Nationals bullpen very early in a tie game. And we all know how the Nats pen has struggled so mightily. It's going to be Matt Grace coming on to relieve Joe Ross with 1 out, bases empty in the Atlanta 4th. Face Matt Adams, and he'll have as much time as he needs to get loose after Joe Ross left. After Nick Markakis flied out to start this 4th inning. Went over next door to talk to the Nationals broadcasters, Bob Carpenter and FP Santangelo, and I asked them, had there been any history of blister problems with Ross, and FP said no, there were none. What he was concerned about was he's kept seeing the radar gun 89, 86. Ross is a guy that throws 96, 97. The scoreboard kept showing changeups on those pitches. Maybe one of them Freddie hit was listed as a changeup. And Ross in the past has had some shoulder issues. So hopefully, if that's the case, it's nothing serious. But they speculated that the velocity wasn't there for Joe Ross, and that's why he's out of the game.
I noticed on what looked like Wieters called for a 2-seamer away. Let me think who it was. Might have been on Adams' double. That it didn't move, and it was 90 miles an hour, and for a 2-seamer, again for him, that was unusual, and I just thought maybe it didn't come out of his hand right. So yeah, I hope it's nothing serious as well.
So the Nationals find themselves in a real quandary. They didn't bank on Steven Strasburg going 3 innings yesterday, and had Strasburg had a normal Strasburg-like performance, well, they could have had Tanner Roark in reserve to use today. Instead, Strasburg lasted just 3 innings, gave up 6 runs. Then Roark came on and had to pitch long relief. So you got to figure he's definitely unavailable today. And so Grace is the first guy that comes out of the bullpen today. And quite frankly, he's pitched real well against the Braves in this series. An inning and 2/3 for him. 4 strikeouts, the good news. 3 walks, the bad news.
Well, I wish Daniel Murphy would leave him alone so he could warm up. The umpire was about to step in front of home plate and dust it off, and Murphy goes, oh no, he's not through yet. Well, quit talking to him. He was interrupting his warm-ups twice.
So now Bruce Dreckman's asking Murphy, is he warmed up enough?
Yeah, are we okay to go now, Daniel? Grace pitched great here a couple of nights ago in relief of the game that Gio started on Thursday. An inning and a third, 4 strikeouts. Pitched again 2 days ago, walked a couple. One of those was intentional. So we'll see if it's going to be a Johnny Holstaff type thing where they've got to use everybody the rest of the way, or if Grace can give him multiple innings.
Adams, Flowers, and Swanson scheduled for Atlanta next. And Adams doubled in the 2nd inning. 3-3 game. Ross departs with an injury of some sort. And the first pitch popped up right behind the plate. No chance for Wieters to get that.
Well, we have virtually 0 chance of finding out what's wrong with Ross in light of Strasburg coming out yesterday and It was never announced why.
Popped up. Zimmerman and Murphy. It'll be Zimmerman right on the right field line. Backpedaling. And 2 are out. And a little gamesmanship too. The Braves didn't find out until late last night that Ross was starting, and the Braves had to make multiple requests to find out who was officially going to pitch today's game.
I think it was after 8:30 last night. They finally let the PR department know for Atlanta.
So Flowers hits. He struck out his first time up. Bases empty here in the 4th inning. Tyler Flowers, another Brave that's had an excellent first half of the season, hitting .312. 6 home runs. Excellent pitch framer. He's really worked wonders with R.A. Dickey behind the plate. And they try to guide Newcomb through. As a ground ball to short, takes care of the Braves catcher. Braves comes on in relief of Joe Ross, and the Nationals come up in the bottom of the 4th inning, tied up. Nationals, wouldn't you say? That's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Yeah, and that was even before today's action. 8.5 runs per game to 4.8 for the Nationals, doubling them up there, and more homers here than the Nationals. That's a huge turnaround for the Braves. Also the ERA taking advantage on many occasions of the Nationals bullpen.
Well, the Nationals pen's going to have to cover 5 innings plus today. Sean Newcomb started in shaky fashion, gave up 3 first-inning runs through 39 pitches. He has thrown 29 pitches in the last 2 innings combined, and he's got the bottom part of the order coming up here in the 4th.
And a nice rest there while Grace was warming up. Sit in the dugout, cool off a little more.
He'll start with Anthony Rendon, who singled home 2 his first time up. And ball 1. This is low. Three straight have missed badly to Rendon.
too long a rest.
Yeah, don't want to let him right back into the game with walks, but that's exactly what just happened. Here's Wieters. He struck out looking to end that very long first. See if Wieters can hit a ground ball at someone. A strike. Ten double plays bounced into by the Nationals catcher. Might be a step slower, hitting from the right side of the plate as well. A little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right there, called strike 2.
Nothing wrong with Newcomb's fastball today other than just location at times. Velocity's been very good.
Far enough. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Outside. It's full.
Here are those lefty-righty splits I was talking about earlier with Sean, and what an odd split they are with the high average by left-handers.
See if Rendon's running. He's not. And it doesn't matter. It's ball 4. Back-to-back walks. They repeated the first inning to the bottom part of the order. And here's a fast runner, Chris Heisey, who hit a missile to short and was retired to start the second. Got that corner called.
He's got the right part of the order up, but this guy's no day at the beach, and I know he's struggling this season overall. But a tough out.
Nice body block there. Heisey just off the disabled list after a ruptured biceps. Adam Lind, he's done some great work off the bench. He's hit 3 pinch hit homers. He was the only player in the big leagues with 9 home runs and less than 140 at bats last year. He's a dangerous hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Didn't get it. Got Grace, the pitcher, next.
No one warming up, so Grace is going to definitely hit for himself in what at this point is a tie game, so no reason to hit for him. Leave him out there and eat an inning or 2.
Fly ball, well hit. That's big time trouble. Kemp won't get it. It is off the top of the fence. Ball dropped. Now Dansby's relay coming to the plate. It's late. Heisey just missed. It's an RBI double. Rendon scores. Wieters all the way around to third, and the Nationals are back in front.
Well, if that ball's not dropped out there by Matt Kemp, they got big time base running problems. because Rendon went back to second. See him hopscotching back to second, and Wieters was right on his tail. If Matt comes up with that cleanly, that's going to be a single and the bases are loaded.
So Chuck Hernandez is on his way out. Looked like Sean was in a groove, but back-to-back walks and then a double. And the entire Atlanta infield defense gets together as Grace will dig in and hit. And action has begun now in the Atlanta bullpen. It's Ian Kroll.
Well, so far he's walked 4 guys. 3 have already scored, and 1 is sitting at third base with nobody out. Infield in with the pitcher.
Strike 1.
No at bats for Grace this year.
Grace was a college teammate of Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer at UCLA. The 0-2 pitch. Swept off the plate. He's out of Palos Verdes, California. He's 28 years old. Second and third, nobody out. 4-3 Washington again. The pitch.
Slow runner at third base is Wieters. He's not going on contact. He's not fast enough. So the infield is in here to make sure that they just keep Grace from hitting a ground ball that would get a run in. And Newcomb wants to keep him from hitting it at all.
And he just did that with a called third strike. So the Braves looking for infield defense instruction. Brian Goodwin's coming up. 2 on, 1 in, 1 out. Goodwin walked and scored the first run of the game. Struck out looking in the second. Dansby tried to bird dog Heisey at shortstop. Pitch. Chased it, didn't get it. Strike 1. One more of those would work.
Got him looking froze him on an inside breaking ball last time up that wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be away.
Foul at the plate. How he made contact with that, I'll never know.
Yeah, I don't either.
It was midway through the right-hand batter's box. And point of contact. At least that's the way it looked.
Yeah, well, we saw Tyler. Tyler was shifting out to block it. And again, with Wieters at third base, the corners are certainly in, but the middle infielders can play back a little bit. Swanson and Kamargo both with good arms. They could cut down Wieters even from where they are.
No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Big pitch for Newcomb. He's got back-to-back strikeouts. And now he's Wilmer Defoe away from getting out of the 4th inning, down only 1 run.
Remember when I talked about curveball location? To left-handers, that's the location you need. You need them to chase. Throw it at the middle of the plate and then have them chase it off the plate. Don't throw it at them and have them kind of bail and then have it break right over the center of the plate. It makes it too accessible. That was a great breaking pitch. Big time.
Defoe has walked, scored, and bounced out. Now the infield can back up to regular depth. Swing and a miss. Newcomb pushing towards another 30-pitch inning.
Yeah, I have to believe this is his last inning. He's closing in on 100 pitches. He's due up second next inning.
Fly ball right. Can Markakis get there? He can't. It's deep into the seats, but Newcomb's way ahead.
He had a relatively easy second and easy third. Got through the 3 amigos with no trouble. And then the 2 walks again this inning. But he's really had to labor.
No balls, 2 strikes. Great stop.
If he can get Defoe here and only gave up the 1 run, he comes to the dugout, everybody ought to pat him on the back and tell him nice going, way to hang in there.
One ball, 2 strikes. Here it is. He got him. 2 walks, a double, and then Newcomb struck out the next 3 hitters in a row. It's 4-3 Washington, amazingly, after 4. Grace is on in relief. We'll see if Newcomb continues on. Our guess is no, as his spots do second here in the 5th inning. All in all, Joe, that it's only a 1-run game, as wild as Sean was today, is pretty remarkable work.
Again, pat him on the back, tell him way to hang in there, and now try to get the lead.
So that tells you about Sean Newcomb's day. He's going to be lifted for Lane Adams, who will pinch hit after Dansby Swanson starts the 5th inning for the Braves. 4-3 Washington. Atlanta trying to get out of town with a outright series win. Dansby rolled out to second in his first time up against Joe Ross, who left with an apparent injury after 1 out in the 4th inning. Chopper toward Murphy to his right. Long throw. Got his man by a step. And there's out number 1. Newcomb's line, 4 innings, 4 runs. He walked 4, struck out 7. And the Nationals with just 4 hits. And a break as well, because Heisey just missed a homer by about 3 feet.
That is very true.
So it's a battle of the bullpens the rest of the way. We'll see how it works out.
Lane Adams, neither team hit on the field today, and Lane Adams was out early, getting his work in, running work.
To third, Rendon handcuffed, but made a nice play.
And I mean running sprint after sprint after sprint from the third base line into the outfield, staying ready.
We got Braves fans watching from all over our country. A big Braves fan watching from Borrego, Sweden today. Beverly Tjorngren is an Idaho transplant who is watching our game live in northern Sweden as we speak.
That's terrific. What's her last name again?
Tjorngren.
Thank you.
She checked in with us on Twitter during the game. I said, so I guess you're spending your evening in Sweden with your 2 non-Swedish meatball friends, Chip and Joe. Hopefully she's enjoying the game. As Ender Inciarte bats, he's scored 1 of the 3 Atlanta runs today. 0-2 to him.
Yeah, he got it started with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Hard-earned walk. Camargo a hard-earned walk, and then Freddie went deep.
6 walks combined in the game. 5 of them have scored so far. And another chance for Rendon. Ball hit the opposite way. Bad throw. And Ender got out of the box slowly. And he's retired for a 1-2-3 Atlanta 5th. And it's been a rough year for the Cubs, as we told you. They have not won back-to-back games in about a month. They are not playing like the defending world champions were expected to play in 2017.
Ian Kroll took a loss here Friday night in the 10th inning. Worked a third of an inning, gave up 3 hits, and the game-winning hit to Daniel Murphy. 35th appearance this afternoon.
Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy, the 3 amigos, coming up again. Seems like they're up every inning. Washington leads 4-3. And way outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Ian got a corner, and it's an even count. Harper with that vicious swing, didn't get it, and count to him, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Harper in his 6th year in the big leagues, and he won't turn 25 until October.
A free agent after next season. The pitch is rolled to first. Adams has it. He'll take it to the bag himself. And Harper's retired to start inning number 5. 1 up, 1 down. That's about the softest ball Bryce Harper's hit against the Braves this year.
I was wondering, did he think it was going foul? He did not get down the line quickly. Maybe didn't see it or thought it was going foul.
Here's Zimmerman. He's got a sac fly and a strikeout. That's off Flowers. 1 ball, no strikes.
The thing for both managers today is that the All-Star break starts right after this game ends, so everybody's available out of your bullpen. And that includes Jaime Garcia, as you told us earlier, Chip.
That misses low, ball 2. Cardinals are winning today, beating the Mets 4-0. Cardinals have a player, Paul DeYoung, who's got, I think it's 8 consecutive hits working in today's action. Getting back to a big game yesterday. Excuse me, it's Matt DeYoung, beg your pardon, 7 for 8 in the series against New York with a couple of homers. Today the Cardinals are trying to beat up Steven Matz. The 2-1 is lifted out of play, foul, 2-2.
Braves have a 2.5 game lead over the Mets. A 2-game lead over the Marlins.
Marlins are on the West Coast. They play the Giants today. Jose Urena has won 6 of his last 7 decisions. He's got the ball for the Fighting Fish.
He's been really good.
Justin Bour hit a homer yesterday. And the Marlins joined the Cincinnati Reds as the only National League teams with 3 players with 20 or more homers before the All-Star break. Ozuna, Stanton, and Bour, the trio for Don Mattingly's team.
I read Bour's name today in a rumor mill that the Yankees were interested in acquiring him.
Well, there's a big Giant for sale sign outside Marlins Park.
Yeah.
And ball 4. Kroll walks Zimmerman. Here's Daniel Murphy. He's 0 for 2. Time for our Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. I asked you earlier, Joe, where do you go to get Daniel Murphy?
Well, not down the middle.
Yeah.
467. That's a tough spot. We've seen him chase some balls today up and in at 250 mark. You see that he's fouled off a couple. Down and in surprises me because he's so easy inside. I don't mean easy to get out. I mean his swing is so easy, especially down and in. A couple of whiffs at some breaking balls down and away too.
Yeah, you've said so many times left-hand hitters ball down and in's a dangerous one because they can just drop the barrel of the bat. It looks like that's not a happy place for Murphy at the plate.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's a little hard to figure out. But you don't have to remind too many people down there in blue jerseys today that there have been 4 walks before this inning, and of their 4 runs, 3 came from walks. Got on base from walks.
First, Streckman gave a look to the right. Cole didn't get the call, and Tyler Flowers with a double clutch back to the pitcher. I think Tyler's talking about that pitch with the home plate umpire.
Pretty good eye to take that.
And there was the look, but the right arm didn't come up. 2 balls and a strike. Right back up the middle.
Murphy got the game winner against him Friday night. Bangs that one right back at him. And it was up. Like an attempt at a cutter, but it was upstairs.
So Rendon's coming up with a chance to do some more damage for the Nationals here in the 5th inning. 2 on, 1 out. Rendon has knocked in 2 runs. He's walked and scored.
Both at bats, they started him with breaking pitches because he is a pretty notorious first pitch fastball ambusher.
Let's see what he gets. He got a fastball and watched it sail in for a strike.
And took that one.
Now it's 0-2. Center field, base hit. Ender comes up cleanly. Zimmerman's not going to try to score. And the Nationals have the bases loaded against Ian Kroll with 1 out.
Wanted a high target, didn't get it. Got it down there in the happy zone. Remember the double he hit off Newcomb was belt high or so and out over the plate. So is that one.
So more trouble for Ian Kroll. That's going to bring Chuck Hernandez out for a visit. The Braves bullpen just started working. Luke Jackson's the and beginning to loosen up.
Kroll's run that he gave up Friday night was the first he had allowed in the previous 4 outings. Make it 5. And the walk today, that's the first walk he's issued in forever, since early June.
So again, Kroll's in need of a strikeout, an atom ball, or a double play ball. The Nationals have had base runners all over the place in this game, but only lead by a run. And that missed inside. The middle, a base hit. Zimmerman scores. Murphy's getting the green light. Ender's throw to the plate late. A 2-run scoring single for Wieters. And Ian Kroll isn't fooling anybody in the 5th inning. And that's going to be the end of the line.
Good base running here by Murphy in terms of how he cut the corner at third base. Good throw by Ender. As you said, just a little late.
So Kroll pitches the 3rd of an inning, issues 3 hits, a walk, 2 runs so far. The runners aboard belong to him as well. Washington has doubled up the Braves. It's 6-3 here in the 5th.
Games.
6-3 Washington as the Nationals continue to bat in the home 5th inning. MLB.com at bat, your #1 mobile app for live Braves baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Braves home screen icons and app features, as well as game day live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today.
This is Luke Jackson, his first appearance in the series. Last appeared on July 4th, also Sean Newcomb's game, and Luke kind of took one for the team in an inning and 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, no strikeouts. It really bumped his ERA up there. He could make some points with his teammates right here if he could limit the damage and pitch a couple of innings. Already 2 across, and he needs to shut it off right here.
And here's Heisey, the man that almost hit a home run, almost hit a 3-run homer, that is, against Newcomb last time out. He hit it right off the 377 sign at the Braves bullpen wall. So Heisey's 1 for 2 with an RBI. Ground ball towards second. Camargo flips to Dansby, who dances across the bag. And the Braves get 2 for the price of the 1 off of the bat of Chris Heisey. 2 runs across in the Nationals' 5th. Middle of the order coming up for Atlanta next.
Inning, Johan Camargo set to lead off for the Braves. He's in there a day today, giving Brandon Phillips a day off. He gave Dansby Swanson a day off yesterday, but I don't think it has as much to do with giving those guys a day off as much as it does keeping him in that lineup. He has been so good, and Brian Snitker says he sees him as a big piece going forward, and that he does see him as an everyday MLB player. And Chip and Joe, you pointed out something great yesterday. It's not just the 3 hits, it's the things that he's doing to continue to keep the game going. Yesterday, beating out that double play in his first at bat to keep the inning alive. Julio Teheran ended up driving in a run after that. He did that again today, and he's just been making plays with the glove, with the bat. The Braves are definitely happy to have him.
Indeed they are, Kelsey, and he'll lead off the 6th inning in what's now a 6-3 game, and he takes a strike. As I said, the Braves are 14-9 when Johan Camargo starts a game. His last 70 at bats, hitting .343. And he launches one deep toward left field. That ball might go. That ball is gone. Johan Camargo with his first home run gets one of them back. A line drive into the Braves bullpen and just above it. And now the Braves relief corps is making some deals to get the first home run for Johan Camargo for his trophy case.
He's come so close, Chip, before this one. This was a no-doubter. Just talking about all the things he does to contribute to this ball club. Breaking ball, and absolutely crushed over the bullpen.
I've said it a couple of times as Freeman goes into launch mode. He hits one to right field, and here come the Braves as Harper misplays it. That ball's up against the wall, and Freddie Freeman's going to end up at third base. So some boos being sent Bryce Harper's way. A couple of lackadaisical sprints toward first after he put the ball in play. A misplay in right field. It's going to be a hit and a 2-base error, and the Braves are in business in the 6th.
Another breaking ball. This was a hanger. Grace was lucky it was just going to be a single until Bootsville showed up.
So again, get into the Nationals bullpen. We're there. And Matt Kemp represents the tying run. But the point I was going to make about Camargo, the Braves have a real luxury in this regard. Too many talented offensive players and too few spots. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how the Braves mix and match Johan Camargo in the starting 8 when we come back to play the Diamondbacks on Friday and for the rest of the year. Way outside, not close. They set down the first 5 he faced. In fact, the Braves didn't get the ball out of the infield against him. They've taken care of that here in the 6th. The leadoff homer. And now Freeman at third base with nobody out.
Johan Camargo, I've heard some people talk about a comparison to Martin Prado. And I think that's fair, except that Camargo has come on like gangbusters much earlier than Martin ever did. And he's got more pop in his bat, and he's a switch hitter.
Braves not folding here, down 6-4. Pitch, and Kemp walks on 4 pitches. And Mike Maddox makes another visit. Andy Romero was up and throwing in the Nationals bullpen earlier. Now a right-hander is up. And it's veteran Joe Blanton again.
And Grace's spot is due up first in the bottom of the inning. A double play prevented him from getting to the plate. And that may be what Dusty was just telling one of his coaches. Tell somebody to be ready if they double switch here. So, got one of them back. Great opportunity to get another back or even have a big inning.
Margo's first big league homer. Freeman a single, a 2-base error. And now Kemp at first with a walk. Lefty for Markakis. Lefties don't bother him, as you know. The pitch almost hit him. 1 ball, no strikes. Oh, got the call that time. That hasn't been a strike all day. Certainly wasn't a strike for Sean Newcomb in the early innings.
Not even close. Not even after Wieters tried to pull it across.
Little chopper. Zimmerman. Sidearm throw to second. That's all they get. A run is in. Freeman scores on the chopper by Nick Markakis. Give him an RBI. And it's now a 6-5 game. Hitter's choice, RBI. Kemp forced out at second base. 3-6. That's the first out of the inning. That's really the first time this series we've seen Zimmerman have to make a play with his arm. And he still has that very odd throwing motion, but it works for him. And that's the first out. Here's Adams.
The easy part for him there was that he was going to his backhand and already bent over to pick it up, so he just threw it from down there.
Back off the screen, foul by Matt. Strike 1. Back and forth we go. Washington still in front by a run. 0-2. That has the whole left side of the infield to play with. Pitch struck him out inner half. Grace's best pitches in relief. His first strikeout. Tyler Flowers is coming up.
Well, I don't blame him for going to that spot if he's going to get a call that far in off the plate like he did on Markakis.
Big sequence in this game. Yes, Nick got an RBI, but if he's got a 2-0 count, he might have gotten a pitch to drive someplace and done a little more damage.
That home run he gave up was the first one he's allowed this year.
Really? Bouncing ball to short. Flip to Murphy at second. That retires the side. The Braves crawl back into it. Down a run. Johan Kamargo, some personal history. His first major league home run, a lightning bolt over the Atlanta bullpen and left. After 5.5, Washington leads it now 6-5. Will have their number 9, 1 and 2 hitters coming up. Johan Kamargo with a long home run got the Braves within 2. Round out by Nick Markakis brought home Freddie Freeman to make it a 6-5 score. Now Luke Jackson will go back to work. Got 2 outs on his first pitch in relief back in the 5th, and he'll try to take care of Stephen Drew, Brian Goodwin, and Wilmer Defoe.
Yeah, that was a big deal getting that double play ball from Heisey. And again, it's on the shoulders of the bullpen to put some zeros on the board. The offense is doing its part. Give them a chance to give the Braves a lead.
So Grace works 2 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and the home run. And it's Drew leading off for the Nationals. And he takes off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
Let's see what happens if the Braves pitchers just cut out the walks.
5 of them so far today. 4 have scored. And in this regard, that's how this Nationals team is a lot like the Astros. You can't give them extra outs. You can't give them extra plate appearances. And just like that, it's 2 balls, no strikes to Drew. And out of play foul, 2-1 the count. Drew, Sanchez, and Wilmer Defoe are splitting the shortstop duties in the absence of Trey Turner. High fly ball toward left. Kemp near the line. Still coming, still going, got there, and in front of the fence makes the play. Drew pops out, 1 away. So back to the top we go. A walk and 2 strikeouts for Mr. Goodwin. Maybe the Braves have figured something out on him, because he has had an impressive run against Braves pitching. 3 homers among his 7 hits against Atlanta this year. Short bunt, took the ball.
That might be the first guy that's threatened to bunt with Freddie at third base.
Ball 1 strike. Powder River over the corner, 1-2.
And they've been throwing him a lot of fastballs. Newcomb got him with a breaking ball inside, but other than that, a lot of heat.
That's rolled towards second. Kamargo took away the tricky hop, makes the play, 2 outs. Goodwin's 0 for 3, and here's Defoe. He's 0 for 2, a walk and a run scored. Mentioned Trey Turner. He's been on the disabled list twice. Once with a hamstring strain that cost him 10 games in April. He fractured his wrist and went on the disabled list June 30th. So I don't know if you can judge Freddie Freeman's recovery as standard time, but if it's 6-7 weeks,
it's mid-August.
You're looking at mid-August, if not later.
In the best case scenario, if there is a bonus for the Nationals, it's that there's 4 days that he won't miss in terms of game time because of the break.
The ball's at a strike. That's upstairs.
But it's still a huge loss for them.
Worth still out with a left foot contusion. He went to the disabled list June 5th.
That was on a foul ball.
Yep. Almost like a bone bruise is what it sounds like. Coda Glover's on the disabled list with lower back stiffness. Uses a very heavy shampoo, apparently.
Reaching for the shampoo in the shower.
One of the great injuries of all time.
Like I told you before, even if that really happened, I wouldn't tell anybody.
Make something up. 2 balls at a strike. Ripped into right field by Defoe. So Atlanta has to face Harper with a man aboard. It's 2 outs in the 6th inning.
He's had a great series, boy. 1 for 3 today. That makes him 4 for 6 in the series with 3 walks.
So here's Harper. Harper is 1 for 3 today. He scored the 3rd Nationals run in the 1st inning. He's grounded out to the right side twice since. And it's off the plate, ball 1.
4 for 14 in the series. Only one of the hits is an extra base hit, and that was a double. His 2nd time up Thursday night. He pitched around him, tried to get him to expand his zone. Walked him a few times.
One ball, no strikes. Fly ball down the left field line. Long run, Freeman. He won't get there. How much ground Freddie covered at third base. Saw him do that on the other side of the diamond a lot.
Sure thing. A lot faster than you think he is. Helmet again flying off Harper. That's another indication. You showed us last night that his head's really moving and really pulling off the ball.
Ball and a strike. Good. Knocked down by Tyler Flowers. It's 2-1.
Fastball.
He's back in the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll see how Brian Snitker plays at the 7th. Swanson at the pitcher spot, then Inciarte scheduled. Washington leads 6-5. Braves have already used Lane Adams. They have Jace Peterson, Brandon Phillips, and Kurt Suzuki able to pinch hit. Dansby with a double and decide to pinch hit. Use Julio Teheran to maybe try to bunt into third.
Yeah, as we've seen, when you have to go to your bullpen early, you can go through a thin bench real quick as the lineup turns over and leave yourself a little short-handed late in the game when you need somebody.
So full count pitch for Harper. Defoe can really run. He's got a big lead, inching off. There he goes. The pitch is up and away. Another walk. Now Zimmerman hits with 2 on and 2 out. It's one thing you do have, one of many things you have to respect about Bryce Harper. Yeah, he will take a violent swing. He will also take a walk.
He sure will.
He's not up there just trying to hit every ball out of the ballpark. Harper now has 70 walks this year. Only 57 walks against 69 strikeouts.
How many intentional passes?
And for Harper, 11. 11 of their 36. So if you pitch around Harper, that means you better get this guy because you don't want to face Murphy with runners aboard. Zimmerman has struck out, walked, and hit a sac fly. He's also scored a run, and he came up empty. Today's starters, Joe Ross and Sean Newcomb, are long gone. Ross left due to injury in the 4th inning. Newcomb left after 4 innings, 4 walks, and almost 100 pitches. Ground ball. Adams has it. Race to the bag. He's going to win it. Jackson, an impressive 6th inning. Nothing doing for the Nationals. The Braves are down a run as we go to the 7th. Is a post-game show after the Braves take on the Diamondbacks Sunday, July 16th. It's brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Don't forget to buy your field passes for just $20. Get your tickets today at braves.com/need-to-breathe.
Veteran Joe Blanton on the pitch. He worked here a couple of days ago and actually did a good job. 2/3 of an inning with a walk, no runs, and he has over his last 6 games, including 3 2/3 innings, not giving up a run. So some improvement there for him. High 80s, maybe 90 miles an hour once in a while, but not too much straight. Sinker, slider, changeup.
Dansby sees a lot of sliders. Let's see if he picks on one here. He's bounced out to second twice. 1 ball, no strikes. Almost hit it.
Purpose pitch. Keep him honest inside, go back away.
Three 3-0. Brandon Phillips has grabbed a bat. He's in the on deck circle. Back and forth we go. Braves have never led in this game. They came back from a 3-0 deficit. Fly ball right. Harper retreats, still going, and to the track, makes the play. Dansby's retired. Brandon Phillips is going to pinch hit in the 7th. What a day for Brandon Phillips yesterday. I mean, he played like a 24-year-old would play second base. He was all over the place, diving, making terrific stabs at second base. And Brandon said he got an acupuncture treatment to take care of some nagging issues in his leg. And he said it made a world of difference for him. He's another Brave that's really looking forward to the 4-day All-Star break. Check swing, roller to second, and Murphy's going to throw him out. That's disappointing. 2 away.
Yeah, that's a. You start screaming overs, timeout. He's had good numbers against Blanton in his career. 7 for 22, double, triple, homer, and a check swing gets him.
But a dangerous man up there now, Ender Inciarte. Ender's trying to extend his hitting streak to 8 consecutive games. Walked and scored in the 3rd. And Blanton delivers a strike. One and two now.
Nice change up.
Fly ball straight away center, and Goodwin's going to catch that. Blanton comes in, retires the Braves in order, and we head to the 7th inning stretch. Washington still leads it. sunny Sunday in Washington. Sean Newcomb and Joe Ross, two youngsters, 24 years old, born 22 days apart. Neither lasted very long in today's game. Newcomb went 4 innings, allowing 4 walks, 4 runs. He did strike out 7. Joe Ross left after allowing 3 runs in his 3 1/3 innings. Big day for Johan Kamargo, his first big league homer. And as we enter the home 7th, Atlanta's down only 1 run. It's a 6-5 score as the Braves try to get out of town, taking 3 out of 4 from the first place Nationals. Jose Ramirez will be the 3rd Atlanta reliever to work today. Cole gave up 2 runs in his 1/3 worth of work. Luke Jackson, no runs in an inning and 2/3.
Well, this is his usual inning of work, the 7th. That's usually when the Braves have the lead, though. And this is kind of interesting the way he's playing catch. Not sure why he's doing that or why he's been given these extra pitches, because the Braves pinch hit for Jackson. Unless somebody else was warming up in the bullpen and was hurt and couldn't go on.
We had heard that Mott was warming up, and I thought Jason was the man that was going to come in, and then at the last moment we were told it was going to be Ramirez. So I don't know if Mott injured himself warming up, so Ramirez played catch behind the mound. Now he'll jump on top and get his customary number of warm-up pitches.
Like I said, normally he's the 7th inning guy when you have the lead, but today's different. Today you throw all that out the window because everybody's going to go to the break after the game, so it's all hands on deck. And his job this time is to hold him right there.
Got a big crowd in Washington, 35,030, 35030. Paid to see it. This is game number 13 head-to-head between the Braves and Nationals. They've split the first 12 games so far. We won't see Washington until September.
Which will be a different Washington team. By then they should have Turner back, they have Worth back, Taylor back.
And if Dusty Baker and Mike Rizzo have their way, a reliable bullpen.
Yeah, a modified version of what's out there now. They hope.
So Ramirez getting as much time as he needs to get ready. So I can only guess that Mott was in the game, perhaps, but he didn't come out of the bullpen. I don't know how this works.
I'm not sure either, but they almost have to have announced him, and so that he can't warm up and come in the game after Ramirez.
So that's strange indeed. Ramirez says he's ready. One more warm-up pitch, and then we'll get to action here with Daniel Murphy set to lead off. I don't even know if Jason's even in the bullpen. If there was some physical issue, he would have vacated the bullpen and headed for the Braves locker room. So we'll try to find out as the Nationals try to extend a 1-run lead in the home 7th. Murphy, Rendon, and Wieters are coming up. And that caught a corner, a strike. Murphy 110 hits before the All-Star break. 31 multi-hit games. Another great year for him. Still batting .341, which was the best in the National League at the start of today's action.
Rare to see him take 2 fastballs that were strikes.
Bounces up there. Well, we've talked a lot about the Braves schedule and how difficult the opposition will be after the All-Star break. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the Nationals either. They have to go to Cincinnati and the Angels, then finish up their road trip with a series against the Diamondbacks on the road. They then come home and play the first place Brewers and the high-powered Colorado Rockies. The Braves have Arizona starting Friday. Then the Cubs come in for 3. Then we head to the West Coast. LA, Arizona, and then finish with 4 in Philly. That's a long road trip. 11 games, 12 days. And that takes us to the 1st of August.
There's another pitch down and away to Murphy that he just fanned at and somehow got a piece of. He did that in the 3rd inning and hit one actually with some authority to center field that Ender ran down.
That's hit into the seats right side. And Murphy will see another one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 is off the plate. In fact, if you're making your plans to join us at SunTrust Park on Friday, the Braves have set their pitching rotation for that Diamondbacks series. R.A. Dickey will pitch the first game after the break. Mike Foltynewicz is going to pitch on Saturday. Jaime Garcia is going to pitch on Sunday. The Braves want to split up the left-handers, Newcomb and Garcia in rotation. Teheran and Newcomb will pitch the first 2 games of the Cubs set. Line drive by Murphy right at Kemp, who retreats and makes the play. 1 out. He's a tough out.
He sure is. They went to the same spot they got the first 2 called strikes, which is a great idea, and it was all over.
So there's the first out. In the 8th, the Braves are going to have Kamargo, Freeman, and Kemp coming up. It's only a 1-run game. Here's Rendon. 2 singles, a walk, 2 RBIs, and a run. Was that called a ball?
It absolutely was.
It was right down the middle.
It looked like it.
Two balls, no strikes.
Got to come all the way back, starting with this pitch.
Another walk. And 7 walks issued by the Braves in this game. The first for Ramirez. We keep hoping for that ever elusive ground ball off the bat of Wieters. It would be nice to get it right here. He drove in 2 runs against Kroll in the 5th.
And right now, that's the difference in the ball game.
Runner goes. He got a huge jump. And the throw's into center field. Rendon will make his way to 3rd. It's a steal and a throwing error. That hurts.
Big jump is right, Chip. His 5th stolen base. Dansby waved at the short hop, couldn't knock it down.
And again, the Braves have to play the infield in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves have walked 7 men. Fly ball left. That's going to be deep enough to add to the lead, you'd figure. Kemp makes the catch. Here comes his throw. It is on target, but late. And Washington leads by 2 again. .34 RBIs make that 36 RBIs for Wieters. A 3 RBI day for him today.
Changes his whole approach when he's got a runner at first and 1 out, and what he's trying to do versus a runner at third and 1 out. All he's got to do is hit the fly ball and avoid the double play.
So 8 walks, 5 of them have scored today. Against the Atlanta staff. To put that in perspective, the Braves walked 8 men combined in the first 3 games of the series.
Yeah.
And that includes Mike Foltynewicz and a man throwing a knuckleball, R.A. Dickey. Fly ball left, right at Kemp. And he's there to make the play, and that retires the side. It is Washington 7, Atlanta 5 as we prepare to go to the 8th inning. First, we send it back to Atlanta and Jerome Jurinovich. If Joey Votto buys Zach Cozart a donkey, if Zach Cozart is traded, will Joey Votto pay for the shipping? Because he may not be a Red through the trade deadline. He's going to be a very hot commodity for the Cincinnati Ball Club.
This has been one of the hot commodities of the few for Dusty Baker in their bullpen. This guy throws hard, upper 90s fastball and an upper 80s, low 90s slider. Kenny Romero, 43 strikeouts, 38 innings.
The Nationals acquired him from Tampa Bay just before the start of spring training. Kamargo, hitting right-handed, fouls it back. Big day for Johan again. 2 more hits, 2 more runs, including his first big league home run that was measured 422 feet above the Atlanta bullpen. Braves are down 2, 7-5. Pitch way upstairs. 2-2 your count. Romero's given up 4 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings against the Braves in his career. And Kamargo had that covered. And 100 miles an hour.
First home run allowed by Matt Grace all year, and it was a long one. First home run of his career for Johan Kamargo, who's had himself quite a series and quite a first half.
Smoked into the left field corner. He turned around a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and Kamargo has a leadoff double.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Get on the Kamargo train. It is rolling. I mean, turned around his best heater. Got that foot down, stayed back, let his hands do the work. Outstanding.
Now the Nationals' blood pressure starts to rise as Freddie Freeman, Matt Kemp, and Nick Markakis are coming up. Great chance for Atlanta. Tying run in the batter's box. And up in the strike zone for Freeman. I mean, this is it's almost comical.
It's like a late reaction and flinches, and he didn't give a call to Ramirez that was a whole lot better than that pitch. Man, oh man, does it change in at bat.
Well, I'm sure it changed your approach. You have to swing at stuff you might not ordinarily offer at.
Called a high strike on Kamargo.
So 2 strikes. Freddie hanging tough. Bruce Dreckman, the home plate umpire today.
Made that horrible call on Markakis in the 6th inning.
Overthrew that one at 100 miles an hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think that's what Wieters wanted, though. He wanted it up out of the zone.
Freddie chased that one up and in. 101-mile-an-hour fastball takes care of the Braves' third baseman. And that's the first out of the inning.
Start his swing, get ready for that 101, and couldn't lay off after he got it started.
Here's Matt Kemp, 0 for 2 with a walk.
Like Kurt Suzuki, though, Matt can hit a fastball. They've been wearing him out lately on sliders.
I think Oliver Perez is up in the pen. Don't know if we'd see Sammy Solis after he got tattooed yesterday. One ball, 1 strike. A little late and into the upper deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out at 100.
That is some serious gas. Both pitches on the strikeouts inside. Make it hard to get to. Makes you appreciate the double by Kamargo even more now, doesn't it?
Good turn on that pitch. So it's up to Markakis. He's 12 for his last 32 with runners in scoring position. This, though, a nasty challenge for him. Lefty with a man throwing 100. I'm guessing that Romero was out of options. That's the only reason they would move a guy that can throw like this. He's been with the big league club in Tampa Bay for 76 games, but had a high ERA.
Yeah, these are the arms that you go the extra mile for, trying to see if they find their location, find their command. Because they have such great arms.
The Nationals traded right-handed pitcher Jeffrey Rosa in February to acquire Enny Romero. The pitch is low and in. 3-0. Another left-handed bat is on deck. Matt Adams. He can hit a fastball. You put him on. That represents the go-ahead run. We got to get there first.
Well, he didn't take any off to get it over.
.6'3", 236 pounds out of Santo Domingo. And now the 3-1 pitch is bounced towards short. And the long throw close, just in time to get Markakis. And Romero, with his 100-mile-an-hour heat, pitches around a leadoff double by Johan Kamargo.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Delta Airlines.
7-5 Washington. We hit the bottom of the 8th inning. Adam Lind has grabbed a bat. He's going to pinch hit for Romero. I'm kind of happy that Dusty Baker's getting him out of the game as well as he pitched. And now that Lind is announced, Brian Snitker is going to make a pitching change, it appears, and go lefty with Adam Lind, who has hit 3 pinch hit homers so far this year. So Ramirez issues a walk. That cost the Braves another run. And it's Sam Freeman coming on to pitch here in the 8th. three friends might be going to the 2017 World Series thanks to T-Mobile. Make your picks at MLB.com/bracket challenge.
And if things aren't embarrassing enough for the team down in Miami, a lot of empty seats, or a lot of seats available, I should say, for the All-Star game.
Yeah, if you have some spare time on Tuesday and $280 to spend, you can get a seat in the upper deck at Marlins Park for the All-Star game.
Wow. I mean, the price of the ticket is one thing, but I can't believe that in a ballpark that small, capacity-wise, they can't sell it out in the All-Star game. Sam Freeman's doing good work for the Braves, on the other hand. He's worked 2 of these games already in this series, had last night off.
And delivers ball 1 to Adam Lind.
An inning and a third, 1 hit. No runs or walks, 2 strikeouts total for Freeman here.
Story of this game for the Braves, though, from a pitching standpoint, is walks. Too
No
many
question.
of them, and too many of them scored. 7 walks, 5 have come home.
Including a big one last inning that was unearned after the stolen base and error.
Two balls, 1 strike. And now 3-1. 7 runs, 8 hits for the Nationals, 5 runs, 6 hits for the Braves. Romero, a very impressive 8th inning. Gave up the Kamargo double, but stranded him at second with 2 swinging strikeouts. Now Sam Freeman tries to take care of Adam Lind. The pitch is out of play, foul. Got some good news today, and great news for Keith Lockhart's family. His son Jason, as you know, had that baseball injury about 3.5 weeks ago. Jason's going home after 7 surgeries and 21 days in the hospital.
Man, that's great news.
So everybody in Braves country who was thinking about the Lockhart family, your prayers have been answered today. So Jason, congratulations, and continue to get better, and we hope to see you and the rest of the family at SunTrust Park soon. Joe Ross left the game with injury for Washington. No word on his situation. As that strike 3 called outside corner. Good comeback for Freeman. Lind is retired to start the home 8th. Here's Goodwin. A walk, 2 strikeouts, and a ground out for him. Houston won today. They beat Toronto 19-1. Pirates beat the Cubs 14-3 today. We'll have all the particulars on Braves Live after our game. Roll toward the on deck circle.
It almost sounds like an end of the season scoreboard. You know, and teams are playing a lot of young kids or something that gets away from them. Braves a winner 13-0 last night.
Well, the middle of the order for Houston was devastatingly good today. Altuve 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Correa 4 hits, 5 RBIs. Evan Gattis, 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Gurriel, Altuve, Correa hit 2 homers. The ball, as you know, flies in Toronto, and that's something you said at the end of that Houston series. I want to see how they swing the bats in Toronto. Well, they answered you with 17 hits, and Brad Peacock was the winner. He's 7-1. Toronto got 1 run on 7 hits today. Peacock went 6 innings of 5 hits, scoreless ball.
He's been something for them in the absence of a couple of their starters.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Line drive to left. Kemp's going to come on, but has to play it on high. So Goodwin continues his impressive work against the Braves. That's his 8th hit against Atlanta pitching this year. And here's Wilmer Defoe.
Four for 6 with 3 walks, as you saw there. Great series for him.
Strike 1.
And he did not start games 2 and 3.
No balls and a strike. Up the middle. Dansby can't handle it. And they're at first and third with 1 out.
Already getting ready. You can see his right hand going to the glove, ready to backhand it over to Kamargo. Should be an error.
If it is, it'll be Dansby's 15th. They're giving him a hit. So first and third for Harper. 1 out. Ben Tritipo is the official scorer. Perfect pitch. Now it's Harper's turn to complain.
Good pitch.
Bouncing ball, that's through for a hit. Goodwin scores. Bryce Harper with an RBI hit extends the Nationals lead. So the double play that wasn't turned turns into an even bigger mess. 3 straight Washington hits. Harper with bookend singles and now 65 RBIs.
It was a bad pitch. Had him 0-2 and made too good a pitch in or third. After his disgust with the call on strike 2, you didn't have to make that great a pitch. You could have tried to go for the outside corner and get a call to see if the umpire would give it to you. First RBI of the series for Harper.
That's amazing. It's a 4-game set. Here's Zimmerman. So as we look ahead to the 9th inning, the bottom portion of the Braves lineup's coming up. They trail by 3 runs. And if Atlanta doesn't rally, there'll be no blood in the division standings. They'll split the series and resume play on Friday, 9.5 back, and won't play the Nationals head-to-head again until September. Long game, lots of base runners, lots of walks, a couple of errors too. A slow roller is foul. Zimmerman now a 1-ball 2-strike count. Akil Morris has gotten up in the Atlanta pen. Braves do not want to have to make another pitching change. They want this inning to end right here if possible. And that's an excellent start. Zimmerman didn't get a fastball. He strikes out for the 2nd time. 2 strikeouts for Sam Freeman, and here's Murphy. Ball 1 inside. Line down to reach of Freddie Freeman and into the left field corner. That's going to score 1 for sure. Here comes Harper chugging around third. Ball took an interesting hop around the wall. It's an RBI double for Murphy, and the Nationals have blown it open in the 8th.
He's an amazing hitter. We showed you those hot zones though earlier. His last at bat, anything middle up, middle away, he crushes it. He came off the wall hard. I think Harper was going to score anyway.
So Sam Freeman, 2/3 of an inning, 2 strikeouts, 4 hits, 3 runs, and remember the ground ball that wasn't made.
And because they called it a base hit, it'll be an earned. Those are all earned.
Correct.
Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Washington's blown the game open with 4 runs in their last 2 times up. And they now lead the game by a 10-5 score. Alumni weekend is August 4th, 5th, and 6th. The Marlins will be in town. Autograph Fridays, Home Run Derby Saturdays, and selfies on the field Sundays. It's a weekend you don't want to miss. Go to Braves.com/alumni for the details. So Akil Morris will try to mop things up. Total turnaround in offensive action. Remember all the great work the Braves did last night with runners in scoring position. Well, the Nationals have turned the tables. They're 7 out of 15 with runners in scoring position in Game 4 today. And Anthony Rendon, the batter.
Saw that line from Morris. That was his Braves debut last night. Featured a real good changeup.
He struck out Jose Lobaton with that changeup for his first big league strikeout. And he just dropped one in on Rendon. He's behind 0-2. Every Braves pitcher, with the exception of Luke Jackson and to this point Akil Morris for the Braves, has been scored upon today. Upstairs. 1-2.
And everybody but Morris and Freeman walked the batter.
One ball, 2 strikes. And lifted in the air toward Markakis, who is there. And mercifully, the 8th inning comes to a close. Washington gets 3 runs, 4 hits. That ground ball play that should have been made wasn't. That helps the Nationals to a 5-run lead. Oliver Perez is coming on for the Nationals. He's got Adams, Flowers, and Dansby Swanson coming up for Atlanta.
He worked a couple of nights ago when the Nats were able to come back and win that ball game. Worked a third of an inning, gave up a hit, a walk, which was intentional, hit a batter, had a wild pitch, but other than that, he was sharp as a tack.
Well, I hope he's that sharp here in the 9th inning. Let's see if the Braves can make a big comeback. Down 5 runs in the 9th. It'll start with Adams, who's doubled, popped out, and struck out. Braves have 5 runs again, just 6 hits though. In for a strike. Perez, as we know, the master of many arm angles. He's the master of many different Deliveries to the plate. And he channels his inner Louis Tiant and gives up a rocket to the right field corner.
Continues to crack me up. I don't know if the Braves will be able to come back and overcome a 5-run deficit in the ninth, but when this guy features all this hot dog nonsense and he just gets ripped, I can't believe he continues to throw it that way. Why does he do that? Tiant, I got all the moves. Whack. And sometimes he looks stunned. Here comes Dusty. He's not gonna chance a 5-run lead. Nope. He's seen enough of that today. He's not the only one. We only saw one batter and a couple of pitches. See you, Oliver. Ninth inning continues.
Is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, Matt Adams with a leadoff double chases Oliver Perez. Now Matt Albers is going to come on and face Tyler Flowers in the ninth inning. 10-5. Washington has the lead. Let's see if the Braves can have a little final game before the All-Star break excitement in the ninth.
Albers came in and got a double play in the 10th inning Friday night. And then when his team pushed across the run in the 10th, he got the win. Low to mid-90s fastball, slider.
No balls and a strike for Tyler, who's 0 for 3 today. And he shoots one toward Murphy. He's going to catch that on a sinking line drive. 1 out.
The Nats have had Tyler's number this year. This is the only team he's really scuffled against. He is just 3 for 20 against him with 8 strikeouts. But everybody's got a team like that they've got a little kryptonite on you.
Well, the Braves team with that kryptonite against him has been the Nationals, but you wouldn't know it this year. The Braves have played Washington as tough as anybody in the National League this year. We've had several people tell us that the Braves have really frustrated Washington to a certain degree. You think about the season series last year. The Braves have already surpassed their win total against Washington halfway through this season as compared to last year. Going back to our conversation about one half of the season to the next, the Braves with an 11-game win improvement at the All-Star break 2017 as opposed to last year. Team trending in the right direction, just couldn't stop walking Nationals today. That was a critical problem. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Dansby Swanson. Chase Peterson's on deck.
Flowers giving it to Dreckman.
That wasn't a strike for Newcomb all day. One ball, 2 strikes. Braves are down to their last out.
I want you to look at something here on this pitch, and I'm going to be looking with you because from my vantage point, watch the umpire. When he's crouched on that inner shoulder of the catcher, granted, Dansby swung and missed, but when he gets blocked out by the catcher, there's no way he can see the plate to see if this ball crosses.
So Chase Peterson.
Bruce Dreckman's had a bad day.
And not just for the Atlanta hitters, for Washington's too. No balls and a strike.
Best fastball I've seen Alvarez with all year.
Well, they've got Romero and Alvarez bringing the gas late. Maybe Dusty Baker stumbled onto something here in the final days before the break. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball hit well toward left. Drifting back, Heisey still going. He makes the catch in the corner, and that's your ball game. The Braves wrap up the first half of the year at 42-45 and leave Washington the way they came to town, Joe, 9.5 games out in the East.
Yeah, it was an effort to try to come back today after giving up 3 in the first. The only game they're going to look back on and wish they had won was game 2. Otherwise, they played a real good series.
So off we go to the All-Star break. Jerome and Nick Green will take you the rest of the way. Thanks to our great crew for a fun first half. Can't wait to get back at it with you on Friday night at home when the Braves take on the Diamondbacks. For Joe Simpson, Chip Carey, stay tuned. Braves Live is coming up.